This is Adrian O'Dell with the Norfolk Polish Heritage Group, and I'm here today to interview a young Polish woman as part of our archive project and to hear about her life in England and where she was born and her plans for the future. So, good morning to you, and perhaps you tell me your name and where and when you were born.
Hello, good morning, Adrian. So my name is Ewelina Wachnicka, and I was born in 1984 in Poland, in the center of Poland, Lipno, województwo kujawsko-pomorskie.
Okay, and was it a large town? What sort of size of town was that?
So I was born in Lipno, which is around 40,000, maybe a little bit less citizens, but I grew up in a small town, 3,500 citizens.
And what did your parents do? What work did your parents do?
So both of my parents are from farmers' family, from generations, and they still run the farm. But also on top of that, later on, they started their own small business, like a corner shop.
And what were their names?
My father's name is Paweł and mom Elżbieta.
And did you have any brothers or sisters?
Yes, I do have two sisters, older and younger. And older currently lives in Australia, and the younger one lives not far away from my parents.
And when you were a young child, did you enjoy working on the farm and helping on the farm?
Oh, I loved it. I think it was the best part of my life, really. All the beautiful memories. Till the age of 7, I lived at the farm together with my grandma. Later on, we moved to that small town. And all the memories, playing in a field with friends, helping my parents in the farm, taking care of a chicken, cow, and helping on a strawberry plantation. I think it was the best time the best memories.
And of course you would have gone to junior school, primary school, close by?
Yes, I went to the school in Dobrzyn nad Wisłą. This is the town when I spent, where my family home is still based. And later, after the primary school, I went to the high school, which was around 24 kilometers away.
And I understand that you were quite musical in your youth. Tell us about that.
Oh yes, so music was always present in my life. My dad used to play accordion, and as a little girl, I remember him playing in the evening for us. So we'll be dancing with my sisters, and the same my grandfather. He used to play violin. So later, when I grew up, I was in the primary school. I picked up playing the piano classes, and I played piano till the age of 16. And later, unfortunately, I had to give up, and I started playing saxophone in a orchestra band, which was part of the fire brigade in Poland.
So fire brigades in Poland have their own band, because in Britain, very often factories, particularly in the north of England, they would have brass bands. So what sort of music and what sort of events did you play at?
So we would be playing at the national celebrations, like during the 1st May, 3rd May, or 11th of November, so the Polish national celebrations. And also we'll be playing during the Easter time and the Christmas time at the church. So that will be Christmas carols and very traditional Polish music.
And patriotic music, and perhaps the national anthem, yes. And things like that.
Yes, that's right.
So then you went to high school, and I understand you had an ambition to become a psychologist.
Yes.
And why didn't that happen?
I think that was a destiny. I was probably meant to be doing something different. Also, I wanted to be a psychologist, but and I applied to university in Warsaw, but I wasn't really successful. So I also had like a backup plan. I applied to the university Warmia and Mazur in Olsztyn, where my sister used to study at the time, to the food science department. and this is where I started my education, higher education.
I understand you received a master's in food science.
Yes,
and that would have been what year was that?
That was 2008, 2009.
So were you then stuck in Poland for that period, or did you manage to do some travel?
No, so actually something what when I started the food science, I wasn't really sure what is the subject about, and I was trying to find my ways to understand what is the application of the subjects I was really studying. And I found the opportunity to do the students exchange on abroad as part of the EU project, and I was successful, and I went to study in Greece. During that 6 months period, I got the training at the National State Laboratory in Athens, and that was a really good experience. So I find out what I can do with my subject, what is the application, and how exciting it is, the number of things I can do. So after that, when I came back from Greece, I decided... Back to Poland. I decided to take a gap year. And during the gap year, I came to England. I spent 1 year in England practicing English, doing different jobs.
What sort of jobs did you do?
Well, I started as a typical immigrant, I must say. I got a job in a post office selecting letters. I worked there for a short time, but I knew from the moment when I came, I wanted to practice English, and I wanted to get an experience working in a laboratory. So I was trying to find a job in a laboratory, going from different agencies, and I wasn't really successful. So what I decided, I will find a company or the factory that's got maybe the lab at the same time on a side, and maybe being inside of the company, I can apply for jobs within the factory. And I got a job in a pharmaceutical company. I started working there on a packaging line, then on a manufacturing line.
So we're talking about in England somewhere.
In England.
Where was that, the factory?
That was around Liverpool area, Runcorn, exactly.
And you learned to speak some Scouse, did you?
Oh yeah, I did, yes.
Was that quite a cultural shock for you, from Poland to Greece to Liverpool?
It was, and what I was saying, coming as a student from learning English, you are taught the proper Oxford, what I called Oxford English, and then you go and to Liverpool, and you realize it's a totally different language almost.
So did you go straight into a laboratory there? What sort of work did you do in the factory?
So I had like 4 different jobs within that 8 months window when I was in that factory. So I started with packaging, then manufacturing, but I knew I wanted to get a job in a laboratory. So one day I went in a canteen to the head of the quality control. I went to him with my CV, and I said, "Hi, I'm Ewelina. I came from Poland, and I'm here for a year, and I'm looking for some job experience. Maybe you've got something suitable for me to do in a lab." And a few months later, I was asked to come to the office upstairs, and they offered me a position in a microbiology laboratory.
Wonderful. So I understand that you'd got a bug for travel, and you went other places in Europe. Where did you mention Finland?
Yes.
What were you doing in Finland?
So once I finished the job in the UK in that pharmaceutical company, I took my backpack and all the money that I saved working in around Liverpool, I spent traveling around Australia, backpacking through the whole country. And then I came back to Poland to finish my university, because I had 1 year to finish.
Oh, you hadn't yet
degree.
Graduated then with your PhD?
No, that was with the master degree. So I had 1 year to go still.
Sorry, yes.
And but in the meantime, when I came back from England, there was an opportunity to do another students exchange on abroad, and this time it was Finland. So I worked in Finland as a microbiologist on a small project, isolating lactic acid bacteria from the sourdough. And then I came back to university. I finished my master degree. I graduated, which was December 2009.
Mm-hmm. But you'd obviously got the bug for travelling. You wanted to travel, but you then, I think, wanted to advance your education even further. So what happened next?
So when I came back, when I graduated, I already had an experience working in Greece, then in the UK laboratory, then also in Finland. And I was doing science projects. I was running science projects. And I knew that science is something that interests me because it's very different. Every day is different. You go to work and it's not work from 9 to 5 and you will be doing exactly the same thing every day. So I knew science is the thing I want to do. And PhD would be the natural choice, natural pathway. But I knew I could do the PhD in Poland, but I knew I wanted something even more challenging. I wanted still discover world. I still wanted travel, and science is gives you that perfect opportunity. So I started looking for PhD positions, and I came across the PhD position here in Norfolk, in Norwich, in the Institute of Food Research, and I applied for it, and yes, I got it.
And what was your first impression of, you'd been to Greece, you'd been to Finland, you'd been raised in Poland. What was your first impression of Norwich?
The one thing what I was really worried before I came to England for the second time, that it will be raining all the time. So coming from the Liverpool, where was the 2007 or 8, it was probably the most rainy time. I was scared that I would have rainy day every single day. But then when I find out that actually Norfolk is the driest part of the UK, I was so relieved. I really loved it. And I really liked the university. Obviously, it's beautiful. It offers so many opportunities for students. It's very international. And I felt very much like at home straight away. And also the people at the Institute of Food Research, they really took care of me. They really helped me. They were very friendly. And Norwich seems to be it's a very beautiful city. It's got a lot to offer. It's very cultural, multi-international as well. So yes, I just felt safe here.
So you spent how many years on your PhD?
3.5 years on PhD.
And then you moved on. So what happened with that?
So I graduated, I finished my PhD in December 2013, and short after that I got another postdoc position within the same group where I was doing PhD. And then I started looking for jobs, and actually the job found me. So I started working as a food safety scientist in one of the global companies around Bedford.
And you've been there now for 5 years?
Yes.
Just let's go back to Norwich for a minute. I understand that you helped to start some Facebook pages for Polish people and also a Polish society at the university. How was that, and what form did that take?
So I sort of started gave the basis to the Polish Students Polish Society at the UEA. So university organized Go Global parties once a year, where each of the nationalities can present their culture, their food, whatever they want to share with other nationalities. And I went there for the first time. I was impressed with it, how people were willing to share the traditions and culture and just wanted to teach others, to make them aware, just to learn. And it was very painful for me that Poland was not there. Because when you think there's so many Polish and abroad, in England, here in Norfolk as well, but Poland was not present there. So the second year as a PhD student, I said, I have to do something about it. And that's why I started the Facebook group, because through the Facebook group, I started advertising, I'm looking for the Polish students. I would like to present the Polish food, and then maybe something on the stage to show others Polish culture, traditions, and dances maybe. And this is how it started.
So what was the Polish Facebook group called?
Polacy w Norwich.
And what does that mean?
Polish in Norwich.
And I understand now that it's got quite a big group. It's over 4,000 people involved.
Yes, that's right.
So you went off to Bedford, and you've been a microbiology food scientist for 5 years, but I get the impression that you always like to try something new. That seems to be a pattern in your life. So what are the plans now? What's happening in your life now?
Well, in a less than a month time, I will be moving to France. I will start a new life in Paris.
How romantic. And you speak French, of course?
Of course not.
Oh, you don't speak any French?
I don't speak any French. So that will be a new adventure for me, not only from the cultural point of view, but also from the language point of view. So yes, everything will be very new. So you're going to keep a base in England. I understand you have a house in Bedford, and the idea is that I think you said you regarded Britain as your second home. What are your plans for the future in that respect? You're going now to work in France. You don't know for how long, whether you like it or not, but judging by your past experience, it seems that you're very adaptable and able to make changes. So you'll keep your house in Bedford and perhaps come back to Britain one day? I like to keep my options open. And England or UK, it's been always a very safe place. I believe that whoever wants to find themselves, they can always make it their home. And I do consider England as my second home. So yes, we will see. Or maybe there will be some other country. We don't know, really.
I was talking to one of your friends who has also formed part of our archive group, Natalia Fadrowska, and she mentioned to me that you had been nominated for some recognition as a Polish woman in England. Could you tell me about that, please?
So that was the campaign organized by the Polish embassy last year in March, which selected 18 finalists of women inspiring Polish Poles in the UK. So the campaign was organized in the 100 years anniversary of Polish women getting the rights to vote. And I was one of the finalists, yes.
Well, that's quite an honour.
It is, and yes, that it is. Thank you.
I'd like to just ask you, finally, your thoughts about England. Particularly, we've had a difficult time here over the last couple of years, 3 years, with the Brexit situation. Tell me your views on that and your feelings. How do you feel about Brexit?
To be honest, that really upset me. As I said, I do consider England or UK as my second home, for the reasons that it's been very international, very open, that I had always the idea that everyone is welcome here. But unfortunately, with the Brexit, I can understand that people maybe were upset with the EU because it's not perfect. Nothing is perfect, if you think. But the whole campaign became about immigrants. That we're coming here, we're taking people's jobs. It's like no one wouldn't really see how much we contribute to the society. So when I heard the results of the referendum, I was in Poland at the time, and I came back a few days after the referendum. And I must say it was the weirdest period I ever had in my life during my time in the UK. It was just when I walked through the streets, on the street, I had a feeling everyone looked at me, okay, you are not wanted here. Which I believe it wasn't the intention of many of the British, but this is how it ended up. As a person who went on abroad, traveling, studying, thanks to the EU, I'm deeply upset. And as I said, EU, it's not perfect, but I hope UK will find a good ways around it. That we will find the best of it.
Well, in my opinion and experience, Britain has always had a lot of respect for the Polish people from World War II, all the involvement in World War II, and the work ethic is renowned throughout the world. And I do hope that things will turn out for the best. We must be optimistic and hope so.
That's right.
But what I'd like to do now is to thank you very much indeed, Ewelina, for talking to us today. And you've had a fascinating life so far, and we wish you all the best for the future.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It's been a pleasure.